He wanted it remembered. As a result, what we have is a blow-by-blow account of the battle. Its key moment is a tactical maneuver so cunning and so daring that it's still taught in military colleges today. The hieroglyphs tell us that the pharaoh assembled his army south of the mountains that surround Meggido. The Canaanites were waiting for him. They guarded both the southern and northern approaches to the city in case of attack. So Tutmosis took a third, far riskier route. He led his army down a narrow pass through the mountains. If they were spotted, the Egyptian army would have had no escape route. They would have been slaughtered.
So the troops are displayed out there on the plain. They realize that Tutmosis' troops are coming right through the pass and not from the south further, not from the north.
But the gamble paid off. When Tutmosis attacked, he did so with the advantage of complete surprise.
Tutmosis defeats them quite handily, as it turns out, in spite of their defensible position up the hill. But then, as his troops are busy plundering, the survivors take refuge in this citadel, which is here.
Even in the face of the pharaoh's decisive victory on the battlefield, the city was still a powerful stronghold. It held out.
They managed to sustain a siege for several months until Tutmosis is finally able to take Meggido completely and make it an outpost for Egypt.
There were fortifications on this hilltop even before the coming of the Egyptians. Archaeological finds at Meggido hold the key to a history that predates even the first recorded battle in the world. Our investigators want to decode these clues to find out just how far back Meggido's history stretches. Ori Soltesz meets archaeologist Israel Finkelstein.
This is a window into the history of Meggido, and this is also a window into the history of this land, and it takes you through some of the big names like Thutmose III. You can see the stratification, the accumulation of many cities, one on top of the other.
So how many strong are there?
30 cities, one on top of the other, covering a span of time starting in late Neolithic times, let's say around 6000 BC, something like that.
So this time slice takes us from way before we get to Tutmosis. So
through the evidence found on the ground here, we now know that there's been a settlement at Meggido for over 6,000 years, making it one of the most ancient in the world.
It has various names like Telalio.
Our engineer Mark Telesnik meets Norma Franklin. She's agreed to show him some of the oldest parts of Meggido. The hill appears to have first been a site for ritual sacrifice.
Well, here we have a famous round altar at Meggido. It's a flight of steps going up to the altar. They have cut marks in them, that is the depressions, whether they were used for putting water libation in there or oil. There's one there. But whether these steps were used by a priest or a number of priests, or whether they took animals up here for sacrifice, we don't know. But what we do know, here we have pure, unadulterated cult, sacrifice, temples, everything that goes with it.
4,000 years before St. John made Meggido a site of importance to the Christian faith, this was a place where far older religions were practiced. Ori Soltesz sees the foundations of what may have been one of the world's oldest places of worship.
This is really a fantastic monument because it's extremely well built, extremely monumental. You can see the northern wall over there, the big one, about 4 meters thick, and then in between you have
13 feet thick.
Right, wow. And in between you have the hall, the temple hall, because it's a temple, and 6 big basalt pillar bases.
So this is what the round object there is.
The pillar bases supporting wooden pillars, which in turn supporting the beams of the roof.
Interpreting what archaeologists have found, it's possible to get an idea of what this very early temple may have looked like. Stone walls 13 feet thick, a roof supported by pillars built on stone foundations, immense and solid, and yet it still fell.
When you look at the wall here, there are cracks.
Right. You mean you're talking about this crack here, the face through the rock?
Exactly. This and other cracks, similar cracks, and this is evidence for a major earthquake that wrecked Megiddo and destroyed the temple and made the people leave and abandon the site for about 2 centuries. And this is not surprising because Megiddo is sitting on a major fault, the Carmel fault, so it is sensitive to seismic activity.
The first